Alright, so it's time for a movie review. Gonna talk about this movie right here, Iron Man 3. Alright, so, I wanted to post this on Tuesday when I actually saw the movie, but I couldn't because of the fucking internet going out on me. And, I wanted to talk about this movie pretty bad, and I'm finally getting the opportunity. So this movie was good. I recommend that everybody go see it, and you're probably going to anyway, because it's the most popular movie out there. Better than Iron Man 2, and this is coming from someone who wasn't an Iron Man 2 hater. There was a lot of problems with Iron Man 2, very slow in some parts, boring on a lot of the dialogue sections. This movie improves on it. Now, there's a lot of parts in this where there isn't much Iron Man. It's a lot of Tony Stark. The majority of the movie is, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., who does a great job. Better job. As far as, performances, this is probably his best. As Tony Stark, the funniest, not the best story. The best story is still the first Iron Man. It doesn't have as strong of a storyline as the first movie, but this movie is definitely, the best acting-wise. The humor, the dialogue is better written than the first, and way better than the second. Everything that's supposed to be comedic is funny, and I laughed at, which definitely shows that it was a success. It can be taken almost as like a partial comedy movie, and I'm willing to accept that because Tony Stark is a very charismatic character, and Robert Downey Jr. is a great fucking actor. This man should get a medal for this fucking role because it's amazing. He does a very good job. He's very funny, very likable. If you didn't like Robert Downey Jr. before, you're probably gonna like him now. Now, the thing that I got a problem with in this movie is the villains in this. The Guy Pearce playing, Dr. Killian. God, I wasn't a big fan of Guy Pearce. There's a lot of people out there who enjoy his cult classic, Memento. I thought that movie was a backwards disaster. I thought it was a boring movie, and Guy Pearce is kind of boring. He's not good. He's a good-looking guy, but with no charisma, anything to really say, wow, man, this deserved to get this role. No, He's just a pretty face with not much else to offer. Now, Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin is a hilarious role. Their interpretation of the Mandarin is way different than the comics or the cartoon. I'm not big on, Iron Man as a series. Didn't really, read a lot of the comics as a kid. That really wasn't my thing. Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and X-Men was always the comics that I would collect. Iron Man, not so much. Only got a couple of those. So the Mandarin, not too familiar about him. He's a big villain. One of the biggest villains in Iron Man. And not exactly the best portrayal of the villains. And that's a very important aspect of the movie. But they get away with it somehow. Probably because the performances are so strong and it's a pretty decent script. You can't really complain too much about it. You definitely can complain, but I will give it a bit of a break. But the movie is good. I like it. It's got a good flow to it. I was never bored. Ben Kingsley, it is a funny role that he does. A very different type of voice. It's a comedic role that he does as the Mandarin. It's a very strange voice. He's supposed to be sort of Chinese in a way, but doesn't sound it. It's very odd. I would say go see this movie. A lot of people got nervous because of the New York Post giving it a bad review. The New York Post is always accurate. If there's one thing I've always learned, it's not to pay attention to a lot of other reviews. Because I've seen a lot of movies that have gotten good reviews and were fucking horrible. I've seen a lot of movies that got horrible reviews and were fucking great. So you know, this movie though, it was good. And a lot of the other people reviewed it pretty solidly. It was only that one review out there. But seriously, like I said, who gives a fuck about the reviews? Except for this one. This is a good review. But yeah, very impressed with Robert Downey Jr. The man, you know, he really has built up a big time success for himself. He's a success story. His life was a disaster, was revolving all around drugs, and now it's revolving around charismatic acting. And he's doing a great job, so props to the guy for that. It's a pretty good movie. If this is the last Iron Man movie, and I think it is, you know, then I guess it was a pretty good way to go out. All right, so go see it, you motherfuckers.